Hi, me again. So I've decided to start a new segment. When I say new, I've been doing these videos for a week, so it's newer. Anyway, my new segment is going to be about the books that the kids and I are reading. I go to the library fairly frequently with them, and I also like to buy a new book every so often just to keep our in-home library a little bit fresh, otherwise you kind of get bored. And I try to rotate some of the old ones as well. So the ones I'm doing today are just our current favourites. They're not our all-time favourites necessarily, but they're what we're reading a lot at the moment and really enjoying. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. These are like the top 4 of the moment that I've been reading to them a lot. Okay, so the first one was one that was given to us by my cousin who lives in Australia, and it was apparently one of her favourites when she was young, so therefore it's already going to have quite a lot of meaning for us. But we got it at Christmas. The kids really liked it then, but with a lot of books, sometimes they take a while to get into them to the point where they start asking specifically for them. And now this is one that they're asking for. It's called Possum Magic, and it is by Mem Fox and illustrated by Julie Vivers, I believe. I'm sorry if I get any pronunciations of names wrong. I'm doing my best. Anyway, it's a really sweet book. It is Australian, as it says there, an Australian classic. It is Australian. It is about a possum in Australia. A possum who is made invisible by her grandmother to keep her safe from snakes. But then she decides that she doesn't want to be invisible anymore, so the two of them, her grandmother and her, have to go on this adventure through Australia to try and figure out how to stop her from being invisible, because the grandma can't remember the spell. So it's really sweet though. It's really lovely to read. It's a really lovely little story. The kids really like it. The illustrations are just so sweet and so cute. I mean, look at these little possums. The baby possum is called Hush as well, which is a really sweet little name. Look, there's Hush turning invisible. You can see that. She's just like the cutest. So yeah, it's a really lovely book. It's a really simple story, but I really like it. It's not one of the ones that rhymes. The kids like a lot of rhyming stories, but this one doesn't actually rhyme. But I quite like it for that reason. It's a bit different. So yeah, that's number 1 at the moment. Number 2 is this one. This one I had read a lot about online and really wanted to get, and it's called Ada Twist Scientist. Now I chose it for 2 reasons. One, I'm trying to make a conscious effort to try and get children who aren't white in the stories that I read the kids. It's not always possible. I'm doing my best. But I think it's really important. We live in an area that's pretty multicultural, and I kind of wanted the books that we're reading to reflect the sort of environment that I'm bringing my kids up in. We moved to London, or moved back to London specifically to get the kids going to schools where there would be people other than white people there. It was really important to me. And so then to only have books and films that had white people in seemed a really strange thing to do. So I'm just trying to make a bit of a conscious effort. I'm not going to go overboard, but I'll go try my best. And the other reason I really like it is that it is a female protagonist, Ada Twist, but she is not a princess. She is not a mermaid. She is not anything sort of stereotypically feminine. She is into being a scientist. She is into science and curiosity and asking questions and trying to find the answers and exploring and research and all that. And I just thought that was a really lovely idea. So it's a wonderful book. If you haven't read it or if you haven't heard about it, go out and have a look at it. Just pop into your local Waterstones or whatever bookshop, have a look, have a read through. It's really sweet. It's got some big words in it, but I've got to learn them sometime, I guess. I was trying to explain to Rufus the other day what hypothesis meant, which turned out to be trickier than I thought, because you try to explain these things and you end up using more complicated words to explain them. But anyway, we got there. So yeah, this is a lovely book. It's just very sweet and very well, it's just a bit different, really. It's just nice to have something that was a bit different with different characters. different ideas, and sort of different aims to the book. It was quite nice from that perspective, really. Then third book it's a Julia Donaldson one. I think it's actually been around a while. I think it was published a while ago. It was part of the same series as the Paper Dolls series. So it's Rebecca Cobb doing the illustrations, which is, I think they're really beautiful, actually. But it's not one that I'd heard of, and Eloise got it for her second birthday. I forgot how old she was. For her second birthday, so just the other week. And it's called The Everywhere Bear, and it's really lovely. I mean, I think a lot of schools now, my kids aren't at this age yet, they haven't started reception or anything yet, but I think a lot of reception classes do this thing where they have like a classroom bear or classroom animal that then gets taken home with the kids over the holidays and things like that. So I think it is something that's happening more and more, and that's what this book is about, basically. And it's about this bear that goes everywhere because he gets taken to all these places by the kids. But in this particular story, he gets lost, and then he goes on a whole adventure all by himself to find his way back home to the classroom. So it's very lovely. It's quite endearing. It's also something that kids can relate to. Just a nice book. I like it. And then this one, I would be amazed if people haven't heard about this book. It's been certainly all over social media. I've seen it in many, many places, and I'm completely obsessed. Now, it's a bit old, especially old for Eloise, although we did buy it for her second birthday. And it's even a bit old for Rufus, but it's such an important message and such an important book that I felt like, well, let's get it now, start them early. At some point it will sink in and make a difference. And it's called Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. And it's 100 Tales of Extraordinary Women. And it's essentially that. So every story is just a page, just a single page, and then with an illustration next to it. And every page is about a different woman through history that has achieved incredible things. And they're all real life women, and they are amazing, and there's such good stories. We read one the other night, which I'm not going to be able to find now, I'm sure, which was about a woman who wrote code, and the code that she wrote helped Apollo 11 to land on the moon. And this was a particularly good story to read because writing code is pretty much what my husband does, and it's been really difficult to try and explain to Rufus what it is that his daddy does. And so this was kind of a way to make it a little bit more accessible for him, I guess. So, Daddy doesn't land spaceships, but, the things that he does have the potential to do that, and that's what's so amazing about it. So, here it is, Margaret Hamilton. Actually, she's amazing. Woo. So yeah, it's a great book for lots of different reasons, but it was really important to me that both children knew that nothing should hold you back, not your gender, not your race, nothing. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve if you work hard enough, or if you believe in yourself enough, and if you're passionate enough about whatever it is that you want to achieve. And that was really important to me, and I just heard about this book, and I didn't want to wait until the appropriate age. I wanted to just get the book and start hammering that message home sooner rather than later. So yeah, there are top 4 at the moment. I think we can confidently say that this is my favourite. But I think the kids are getting to like it more and more. Hopefully that will continue as time goes on. But anyway, that's enough about that for now. This was the first episode of, I guess, my book review, book report. Should we call it book report? We'll call it book report. This is the first episode of my book report, and we will hopefully try and do another one maybe next month. Alright, okay, thank you, bye.